you searching for fulfillment? Discover true happiness. Stay tuned to Shalom World.
Catholic sports camp started in the Diocese of Joliet back when Father Bruke, who was our vocations director, met Mike Sweeney, a former baseball player on the Kansas City Royals. And Mike had been running a Catholic baseball camp, and Father Bruke brought that back to our diocese.
I was blessed to have a great career. And after my baseball career concluded, I thought to myself, what next? As a Roman Catholic, a follower of Jesus, what do I do next after my playing days are done? And God put it on my heart to lead a baseball camp. Not only a Christian baseball camp, but a Catholic baseball camp. When I presented this idea to many of my friends and supporters, they said, well, why do you want to do a Catholic baseball camp? There's going to be Christian kids who are going to be excluded from your camp, and if you call it Catholic, you're only going to get probably 5 or 10 kids to come every year. And my response was, well, if 5 or 10 kids come, then let's raise up 5 or 10 saints. I'm not going to compromise my faith. I'm a member of the church that Jesus founded, and I'm not going to shy away from that.
So sports has always been a passion for me. And about 6 or 7 years ago, I happened to meet Mike Sweeney, and I heard about this Catholic baseball camp that he was putting on in Seattle, Washington. And I thought, I have to go. And so I went to Seattle, I saw this camp for the first time, and I thought, I need to bring this back to Joliet. And so in 2015, we started our first Catholic baseball camp, and it was a big success. We had about 100 kids come to the first one.
What a better way to bring our young people into a deeper relationship, or maybe starting a relationship with Christ, but meeting them where they are. Because that's what really I think is so beautiful about the story of Christ is he met people where they were. And he bonded with them and made friends with them, and then guided them to where he wanted them. And that's really what we're trying to do at Catholic sports camps, is to take young boys and girls and to introduce them to the beauty of a relationship with Christ and let them fall in love with him in their time. So really our goal at Catholic sports camps is to use sports because that's where they are at this point in their life. That's what excites them. So we use sports to foster and to help build this relationship with Christ.
It continues to grow and to spread. We've added soccer, we've added football, and now there's been desire to add other sports like track and field, basketball, volleyball. And what I love about these Catholic sports camps is it's a way to plant seeds into the lives of these children where, like me, sports had become a god. And so instead of them coming to church and waiting for them to come to church, which many of them are not, we're taking faith to them in the arena that they're in, which is, in this case, baseball or sports.
We're going to celebrate Mass every day at the baseball camp. We're going to hold hands with the Mother of God, and we're going to pray the Rosary, and we're going to worship Jesus. Then at the end of the day, we're going to go to Christ, and in the times that we've fallen short, we're going to ask him for forgiveness, and we're going to have the blood of Christ wash over us. And we're not only gonna go to confession, but we're gonna do it on a baseball field. We're gonna have priests lined up at home plate and around the bases and the pitcher's mound, and kids are gonna confess their sins. And I tell kids when we go to confession, our hearts are restored to the heart of a saint. The stain of sin is washed away by the blood of Christ. And kids go run out in the outfield and get on their knees in the grass, and they do their penance. And for 3 days, these kids are immersed in singing worship and music to Christ, going before the Blessed Sacrament in adoration, going to Holy Mass and receiving Jesus in the Eucharist. So for 3 days, kids are being well formed. And then at the end of the day, they're playing 6-7 hours of baseball a day, so they're having fun.
I've loved baseball for a long time, since I was about 5 years old, and I also love Jesus Christ, and I feel this camp brings both together very well. It's been so great, and I've been so blessed to be here.
I've done like several soccer camps that are non-faith related, and they're really, really good, and they make you like better as a player, but the more important thing is like about your faith, because that's the most important thing. And like we all love, everyone that comes out here, they love soccer, and that's like such a passion that all the coaches see, and they use that and they turn that into passion for the faith. And that's, so they tie in two really important things for the kids of faith and sports. And they, through their talks and stuff, they show how like some of these people are professionals, and some of them, like they gave up their professional careers to follow God and to follow their faith. But some of them still do professional, and they're at some sort of sports level, and they're still practicing their faith and loving Jesus. And that's like for the kids really, really important, so they can see that they can do both. They can still like do what they love and still follow Jesus, because that's really important for kids to see today.
When I first came here, I was like, what, we're having adoration in a tent, like outside. I was like, so like, what is this? But it's so much cooler because you're outside, you're in God's creation basically, because even though it's a tent, it's still basically, it's God's house, God's sanctuary. And it's so amazing to see how all these kids, like even all these like amazing athletes, how they're out like playing soccer like almost like pros and everything, but then they come back in the tent and you see just this profound humility and this profound love for the Lord, and how they can switch off between that and just be an amazing person too.
That's the beauty, and what makes it different from every other camp that's out there is all those other camps, their focus is trying to improve the athleticism for whatever that sport is with that child. With us, that's not the primary focus. That's the tool that we are using to reach our end goal, which is to strengthen their faith.
The best part about the camp so far, I think, after being here, is seeing how the boys and the girls, but especially the younger kids, grasp the Catholic mission. You always worry about when you combine hockey with faith, whether they'll go too much to the hockey or get distracted along the way. But the way they've acted during adoration and the way they've listened during our talks is very impressive, even among the older boys who tend to start veering away from religion and trying to look cool in their early teens, have really listened and asked questions. So it's kept their attention to combine hockey with Catholicism.
I love being here. It's amazing. I love how this camp is just built for me. It combines two of my favorite things, Catholicism and hockey. They're so important to my life. And I love how the people here are so passionate about what they do and how they make hockey tie into Catholicism so perfectly. So whenever I play hockey now, I'll always think of here and my God.
I love spirit hockey so much because, well, it fuses number one, the Catholic faith, and number two, the hockey together. And that to me is extraordinary, since, you know, they barely relate. Hockey's a rough sport, and then spiritually, you're not supposed to be pushing, shoving, fighting, but there is a way it relates because you follow God.
The importance of adoration, that taught me how important it is to, it really got me going to spend more time in prayer, and that's just one of the things that really got me to closer to God in a prayer life and in my regular life.
Mike Sweeney and Father Bruke and everyone here are such wonderful role models that Patrick has just flourished in his faith, and he's really become a warrior for Christ. He's unafraid to talk about his faith, to pray the rosary in front of others, starting every morning with Mass. It's just been such a wonderful, wonderful experience for him, for our whole family.
And I've been able to pass on my love of sports and faith to my now 10-year-old son, Joseph Dominic. Coming to this camp, this is the 3rd year in a row that he's been coming to the camp. We always enjoyed all the stations, but particularly going to the Blessed Sacrament station is one of the stations where the players come and they kneel down, they spend a few moments in silent prayer in front of our Lord. Well, we've been able to incorporate that into his travel baseball schedule so that before every single game, we would make it a ritual to stop at the Blessed Sacrament, where it's exposed 24 hours a day in Glenview, Illinois, at St. Catherine Labouré Adoration Chapel, and just pray for a few minutes before the game. And then when we get out to the field, my son, and this is what I'm probably most proud of, he's a tremendous little hitter and pitcher and ball player, but every time he would take go to the plate to hit, he always crosses himself in front of all the parents, in front of his teammates. In fact, some of his teammates have actually imitated him crossing himself. And as he would get on the mound to pitch, he would always start out by crossing himself. And so the one thing that I feel that I've been able to pass on to him is, in addition to the love of baseball, is the love of our faith, making it come alive, making him realize that, yes, you can love baseball, but always JC has to be number one, our Lord Jesus Christ. So it's God, baseball, and then your vocation and whatever it is that you do.
The biggest story that I've experienced in our 4 years is we had a young man who was raised in a Catholic home, but was never even baptized. And so after his first camp, he talked to his father, who then called me. He's 13 years old. And he said, "Dad, I want to be baptized." He'd never been baptized before. And he asked, "Why is that?" And he said, "I just saw something in these men that I was around this week at the baseball camp, and I want what they have." And I thought that just touched my heart. And one of the things Mike Sweeney says is one soul gets saved through this whole camp. It's worth everything.
My goal is to raise up saints out of these camps. My goal is that someday there's going to be boys that were campers here that are Catholic priests. If just one gets to inherit eternal life and embrace Christ in their Catholic faith because of this camp, it makes all the planning, all the traveling, all the sacrifice, it's worth it for that one soul.
It has changed how I think about my faith in some ways, and then there's so many good examples for you, and it just helps you to grow in your faith when you see people who are so strong, and just really, it's really great. I think the greatest part about being here is because you're here with your friends and also people that you don't know, but how you can all come together with the sport that we all love, but also with the faith that we all love. And that really helps everyone to bond, because we can go out and play soccer and have tons of fun. But then we can go to adoration and have lots of fun with Jesus too. And it's a place where you're proud to say that you're Catholic, you're proud to say that you love Jesus, and that you love soccer too.
I think these camps are giving young people in such a difficult world today, where they're berated on Facebook, or if they look different or they say something different, that they are bullied. And I think these camps are at least one way of giving them strength and confidence that they are on the right path and that God will be there with them. He will walk through all the difficulties. He's not saying, "I'm going to take all your pain away," but he's saying to these youngsters, "I'm going to be with you if you go through these things. Just trust in me."
And sometimes, we've seen in these camps that these kids are bringing to us real life issues in their faith or in relationships, and they see us as older brothers and sisters that they have confidence in talking to, and somehow we've made the faith relevant to them, which is like the highest compliment that we could get at a camp like this.
I was drawn to be a part of it, just to be around young kids and help them at a pivotal time in their lives where things are probably changing. They got a lot of distractions in the world, and I wanted to share a little bit of my story and encourage them with what God has blessed me with, and inspire them to continue to fight the good fight and live for Christ. And just getting to be out here playing the game that I love is is what I enjoy doing, and to share God's love.
One of the really cool things that we've seen is that people come back. And when people come back, I've had these students tell me stories of where they were at 3 years ago and where they're at today. And we're talking about high schoolers, so a lot of change in their life, from their growth, like physically, to obviously their maturity emotionally, and to some of their growth spiritually. It's been an amazing.
I think first and foremost, the main impact that I've seen is that these kids are walking away and their faith is being deepened. Their faith in Jesus Christ is growing. And that is the goal of this camp. Of course, we have like professional level soccer players, people that actually play professional soccer that are coaching here, and they're also very passionate about their faith. But if the kids that come to this camp can walk away with their own faith growing, that's what this is all about.
I guess the closest thing I've been to a camp like this is a mission trip experience. And I was blessed to go on mission trips to the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico through Varsity Catholic. And those are just powerful times of conversion. But I think it's just a matter of getting down to the most important things in life, talking about real things, having the ability to express, the tough things that are going on in life with people that care about you and love you. That's what's really separates these types of camps from any other sports camp. Is we're talking about the most important things, and the most important person in the world is Jesus Christ. So you can feel a different sense of energy and joy, and you can see it in the kids, and it's contagious. It goes from the kids to the coaches to the parents, and it's just a great community to be a part of. So I'm blessed that I'm here.
As a soccer player, not everyone gets to play on the team, Some people are on the bench. And so we put in faith is we say, hey, even if you're on the bench, if you're not even playing, you got to be a team player. It's not about being the best soccer player in the world. It's about being a team player. And having faith, being generous with your gifts and your talents on and off the field, I think that gives the kids this hope that even if you're not playing, you still have so much to give to your teammates. And faith helps them do that. Not being selfish, not being more generous with the gifts and talents that you have.
The thing that we know, Kyle and I and all the other coaches that are here, the thing that we have known for a long time has been the game of soccer. And so we want to teach the gospel message through the lessons that are learned in sport and make those things relevant in daily life and in our spiritual life. And then also showing them how the spiritual life can actually make them better players, And so there's that complementarity. It's the reality that Jesus Christ should transcend everything that we do.
I usually see deacons and priests in their very nice robes for Mass, and I know that many of them have a very sportier side, but it's also nice having it confirmed and see them play. And
it's amazing. It's such a cool experience playing with priests and everything. And last year we had a nun coming in for full habit with cleats, and having the priests just come in cleats and celebrate Mass. It's so cool to see how to have these two soccer and then faith just mixed together. And you wouldn't think it would mix together so well, but it really does. And it's beautiful to see how they can bring faith into this sport.
Having Mass and adoration outside, you're around God's creation. He made this earth for us. And at first I was very skeptical of having Mass and stuff outside. And they were just treat it like it's a beautiful church, like it's God's house. And at first I kind of had to imagine that, okay, there's the altar, we're good. But after going to Mass and then coming back to adoration, everything that you need is here. It doesn't have to be a beautiful church or anything. It's wonderful.
I just love the fact that they will integrate it into the day. So it's not like you have 5 hours of soccer or 3 hours of soccer and then 2 hours you have a Mass and adoration back to back. You come in, you have Mass, and then you go out, you get warmed up, you get pumped up. And so you've got your spiritual and your physical warm-up. Then you'll go back out, you'll come back in, you'll hear a testimony from somebody, and you're starting to dig into the day spiritually, and then you'll go back out, you'll start playing games. It's just it builds up upon each other, and it's really, really well balanced, so I just love that.
on day 3 of the camp, that's the last day of the camp, we offer the kids a chance to talk about what they learned, or if they want to share something, or maybe they want to talk about someone that really encouraged them at the camp, maybe one of their peers or one of the coaches. And you can't believe what they say. They grow so much in just 3 days, and they really get a deeper level of faith and understanding, and God just seems to bring them, just moves them one step closer. You know, wherever they started, he just brings them one step closer. And it's just really a beautiful thing to see when you hear this on the last day. And we can see from that these kids will make someday really great coaches when they get older to come back and teach our camps.
The maximum we want to get to is 150 campers, because we don't want to get so big to where we lose that individual touch with the kids. This is more about faith and family and children. And so he sees that this is a bigger thing than just teaching people about baseball. And we've even branched out. Yes, we want to teach the kids about baseball. We want to teach the kids about their faith. But while their kids are on the baseball field, their parents are in the cafeteria having a retreat for themselves. And what we're trying to do is to evangelize the whole family, with baseball just being the platform by which we bring the gospel. I can just see this continuing to grow. Whether the number of campers gets to 150, I think that's beside the point. What we're seeing is the whole family is coming around this message.
Our mission is really to make missionary disciples. We want to be able to grow the organization, not only in the number of camps we have, but the types of camps we have. My big goal, that's just kind of my dream would be over in many years, would be to expand geographically. You know, it's all with the premise of expanding missionary disciples, and that means growing what we're doing too, reaching more people, not only having the youngsters that go to our camps come back to our camp when they age out and be counselors. That's a beautiful thing. We had at the hockey camp, we had 3 youngsters that were too old to play, but they wanted to come back and help, not only on the ice, but they wanted to help be counselors with the youngsters. And to see that is just an amazing transformation.
Christ says that I have come that you might have life and have it to the fullest in John chapter 10, verse 10. And that's what we're here to tell them, that living that abundant life only comes through a relationship with Jesus Christ and living it in the fullness of your Catholic faith.
From John Paul II, we have this call for the new evangelization. I think what we're seeing with this soccer camp, maybe this is an expression of that, because what we're trying to do with this camp is we're taking something that the culture loves, which is sports, and we're trying to bring Christ right into the heart of that. And by entering right into the heart of sports itself, trying to transform that culture into a culture that's focused more on Jesus Christ and his saving love for us.
Even though one of the hardest things we can do when Christ is calling us is to say yes, but it's the most amazing experience if you say yes and just trust in him. If you have an opportunity to send your child to this camp, however you found out about it, whether it was an ad, maybe a friend or another parent told you about it, just say yes. Get out of the boat, put the fishnets down, and say yes, because you will see a change in your child that you've never seen before.
Someone who's used media a lot in evangelization, so I believe in the importance of Catholic radio, Catholic TV, Catholics using the new media. Can I encourage everyone to watch Shalom TV? I think it's a great vehicle of evangelization. And God bless all of you.